Welcome back to another episode of tellmesispodcast, featuring your two favorite sisters,
Alex
and Kyla.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. This is our first time recording since actually going live with the podcast.
Yes.
Because the first two episodes we recorded, actually the first three we recorded
We already
prior?
recorded the first three.
Yeah. So, well, I guess technically this is the third because the guest episode is going to be going up next week for you guys. If you're listening to this, we're not going to say who the guest is. It's a surprise, but it went really well. So we'll definitely do a whole chat about that update once that episode goes live. So in 2 episodes from now, we'll talk about it. But I'm going to be completely honest. I was so nervous.
Me too.
Interviewing someone is not something that I thought I would be nervous for.
Yeah.
But it's because we had planned out kind of things we wanted to ask this person and just dive in deep, but it's hard to think of those questions when you're kind of in the middle of a conversation. Yeah. Because you get sidetracked and you think about different things, and then a topic comes up and you're like, oh wait, that ties in with a question that's further down the road, but then it's you have to bring it back.
Honestly, being an interviewer is a talent.
It is, but it's something that's really fun.
It's really fun, but now I know what people are talking about when they talk about specific interviewers and that interviewer being good, because always in my mind prior I was you're just asking questions, but when you're actually sitting in front of the person that you're interviewing, you also want that person to feel comfortable. And you could pick up our guest wasn't at all nervous, she was completely normal, but it was you could also kind of pick up on an energy thing too. 100%. And especially when you know the person and you're close with them, it's a completely different atmosphere
than as if you don't know them.
Exactly. And so when you're kind of doing this professional, I wouldn't say it's professional, but when you're kind of interviewing someone, it's not the same as just having a authentic conversation with them. It's I don't know, it's there's something so different about it, and it feels I felt choppy a little bit.
Yes.
And
hey, that's a perfect way to explain exactly how I was feeling.
Yeah,
choppy.
Exactly.
And also because we're two people, we didn't know when to who to speak and who to answer.
That's something that we need, that now we know moving forward. We can before we have another guest on, we could not only go over all the questions and stuff and send it to the guest, but then we can discuss okay, who's asking what. Yeah. And we also should kind of anticipate if we think that there's a specific question that's going to kind of make us go off on a tangent. Yeah. So kind of keep that in mind. Yeah. And give ourselves a certain amount of time. Yes. And because when you're writing down the questions, that's another thing. When we write down questions, you think that it's okay, all these questions are very different. Yeah. But in the moment, you realize they all kind of tie in.
And sometimes they'll be a question will be answered in a previous answer to another question. And you're oh wait. And then it's also because if you do go on a tangent and you're okay, I have to bring it back. But then you're wait, do we just keep going? Because now we're talking about this and it's a really emotional topic, and it's okay, well, Kyla wants to say something, and then do I just hold back? And then it's awkward too, because we also had to record in a place that we're not used to recording in. We're not going to be recording there again. It's mainly just for the ease of the guest that we had on. So the whole video aspect of it was really awful. I have to say, the positioning of us where we sat versus the guest and having to talk that way, I was my neck was craned.
At one point I look over at the camera as we're recording, I see the screen, and I need glasses now. My vision is not the greatest. Okay. And when I looked over it, I saw I thought that I was literally half cut out of the frame.
Oh no.
And I was no. I literally almost had, not a panic attack, that's very dramatic, but for a split second I was oh my god, do we have to redo this? And also the positioning of
I know.
We're just we're knocking ourselves down. Anyways, it was our first real legit interview, but
it was good.
If I was when you're watching the video, it seems fine because you could see everyone. Yeah. But where I was sitting, you and I were beside each other, and then our guest was beside you, so you were in the middle. Yeah. And I couldn't see.
Oh no.
So I kept having to
Okay,
so I might not when you're editing the video, you might notice that I'm looking over, and also I'm kind of quiet sometimes because I'm
yeah, it's definitely a work in progress, but I have to say it was so fun.
It was so fun.
And we already have kind of a list of people that want to be on, and that's that was something that we really wanted to focus on with season 3, not just the sister dynamic, but also bringing in other people and just doing like a deep dive on their life, on their business. And we spoke about this a little bit in a different episode, but it's something that is very fascinating to us. Yeah. And so it's just a learning. You guys are learning with us, okay? Because we're not skilled at this.
I mean, I think the whole point though of our podcast is like, you know, our whole like sister relationship is like, we're very raw and authentic, and like we're not trying to be this like perfect podcast sister duo. Like, we're learning as we go, and we're probably gonna get a lot freaking better, so this isn't gonna be the dynamic forever on the podcast dynamic forever. Like, we're gonna get better, but anyways, it's fun, relatable,
it's super fun. And like we're I mean, I'm saying we're in the process of, we literally have not even started, but like my guest room in my house / office, that's going to eventually be like the podcast studio. So when we do have guests come on, it's going to be like an official studio where we have like the proper lighting that's always set up, good couches where we're angled properly to like see, and just have it all laid out there. So it's just an easy way to have guests on. So I'm very excited for that.
Yes.
And if you are watching on YouTube right now, you might be confused as to where we're sitting. We're actually in one of my living rooms, and these blinds behind me, I know no one gives a shit, but like I hate these so much. And we were going to have the windows open because it's a beautiful day outside, but it was like literally so backlit. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm putting these down. But I want your opinion quickly. Should I get Roman shades that are tan color, or do you think I should do like a linen white? What do you think, Kyla? Do you know what Roman shades are? They're like the blinds that like kind of fold into each other. So when you like lift them up, they're it's really pretty.
I would say, I don't know. I
don't want a pattern, that's for sure.
No,
I want something.
I think both is beautiful. Like white and like a beige gray. You said gray?
Tan.
I would say do tan because your walls are white. So, and like your couch is white here, and it adds a little bit of like a pop of color, some texture, you know?
And I think it blends nice with the floors. Okay. That was kind of my first instinct, but I just wanted to get someone else's opinion. Anyways, that was a tangent. So life updates. Do you have any life updates?
Life updates.
Because it's been a while since we've recorded. Obviously, we recorded
just
with
the two of us.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like what I have been through since.
It's been a few weeks. So anything you've been doing, loving? How you been feeling with all the weather lately?
Well, the weather definitely took a toll on me. Like, it's just like, it was like kind of gloomy. It was raining for a few days, so I was just like, ugh. And it's like summer now, you know? We went through this like really long winter, and I get so frustrated when finally the summer rolls around and there's just like a rainstorm for a week straight, sometimes 2 weeks.
And cold.
And it's cold. And Montreal weather, oh my God, it's like this. Like, we went from having gorgeous summer weather at the beginning of May to all of a sudden it went back to like, not winter, but like it was raining, it was gloomy, and the wind was cold.
Yeah, it was like freezing. Like, you couldn't go for a walk, and I don't go for a walk really in the rain regardless, but...
And I was barely going for runs.
Yeah.
Which, like, that always takes a toll on me.
Yeah.
But in terms of what's new, I started doing my spring cleaning in my condo.
Oh, nice.
So I took out all of my winter clothes and put in all my summer clothes. I was like folding my winter stuff really nicely in bins, which like, oh my God, it felt so good to do that. I cleared out my guest room. I started vacuuming like crazy. Mm-hmm. I was just like, I really got caught up with organizing my condo and like doing all of that, which is really nice. My car died. The car battery died. So I had to like boost it. Well, Dad helped me boost it. And so now I'm just kind of like, oh my God, it like stresses me out now. Every time I leave my condo, I have to drive somewhere. I'm like, I hope to God my car starts. And then another thing that happened is I never got my new driver's license in the mail and my new Medicare. They're both on the card. It says it's expired, but I paid for it.
Okay.
Both of them to be renewed. So I was trying to get in touch with, I called CAA yesterday and they're like, you have to call the SAAQ.
Okay.
Oh my God, Alex, it's such a nightmare. And I'm so nervous awful. Because Meg is coming to Montreal in June for the Grand Prix and we're going out. And so if we get carded, Like I need to get my
You'll
new
have
cards.
it by then.
Well, I can't even get in touch with anyone now. The
But
SAQ.
why hasn't it come in the mail?
I don't know.
Did it go to mom and dad's maybe?
No, because I asked.
Maybe they didn't see it or is misplaced?
I don't know because I asked mom and dad. They said they didn't receive anything. I checked my mail so many times. I went through all of my mail again. I was like, maybe I just missed it. No, I can't. Like literally.
Just walk in. Because you can walk into the SAQ.
Yeah, but then what? I'm going to be waiting. I mean, like, honestly, I'm going to probably have to do that.
Just walk in, pull a number, or see if online you can make an appointment.
Well, I wrote by email yesterday.
Okay.
Like, there's a section on their website because I called and there's like, of course, everything's in French too, which
and
is
it's
like
automated. So you're like speaking to a robot.
Exactly. And so then I went on their website because they do say during that like automated call, like go on our website and go to this section.
Yeah.
And so I did. So, and it was like, it gave me an email to write to with like an issue I'm having. And so they wrote me back, it's automated. And they said they'll get back to me in the next 15 business days. I was like, absolutely not.
No, just go in.
Yeah. I'm really stressed about that.
It sucks to have to go and wait in line. But honestly, it's just, it's like a one morning thing.
Yeah.
And then
I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and do it. Because it's actually important too.
Well, of course. You need to
You know, like if a cop pulls me over when I'm driving, if they run my license, they'll see that it's like it's valid, it's not expired, but like the card itself says that it expired on my birthday last year.
Yeah, but also the Medicare is the more concerning one to me because if you need like any kind of
I know. But that's RAMQ. I'm pretty sure. That's different.
Yeah, that's not SAQ.
Yeah.
You have to call something else.
I know. So it's like I have to deal with all of this like government stuff and like
the whole dealing with it is not the issue because it's a little annoying, but whatever you call the annoyance is the fact that it's so hard to get in contact with anyone.
That's what it is. It's so hard to get in contact with anyone and they're not clear about things either. Like I've noticed that you could go on the website and like everything seems clear.
Yeah.
And then it's like, call this number. So then you call the number, no one answers. And it's like, go back to the website and do this. And it's like, that's what I came here for.
Yeah, you go in circles.
And it's like, oh my God. And then you go in person and like, they're always rude. They talk to you like you're dumb. And it's like, oh my God, I can't. And it stresses me out because I'm like, I just want my new Medicare. I want my new license. That's all I want. And you guys messed up. Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking about people feeling like you're dumb. Okay. I wanted to speak about something quickly. So there's been like online a lot lately talking about education and like people going back to school and furthering their education. And like, I came across a few TikToks of that and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool and like interesting to see whatever. I never finished university. I never got a degree. And when I was reading through some of the comments, I was like, I don't know, maybe because I was triggered on it because like this happens to me a lot. People assume I'm stupid because I never got a degree. And I really hate that verbiage because being book smart, like quote unquote book smart in school does not depict how intelligent you are as a person.
Yeah.
And even the way you speak doesn't depict how intelligent you are as a person. Because I know someone in my life who is like the smartest person I've ever met. And you would never know by the way they speak.
Yeah.
Like you would just never know it. And so I think it's so awesome when people want to get educated and further their education. But for me, I always had a hard time in school.
Yeah.
I don't know if I had learning disabilities or what it was. I was never like in this
Well, wait, can I stop
program.
you right there? I think that is like one of the issues with school, like the education system is that like you think that if you have a hard time in school, you have a learning disability, but like it's not true. People learn in so many different ways. School just teaches one type of like person that like thinks a specific way, you know, like very like let's say, you know, you're more visual or you're the type of person, because I'm the same, I'm very visual and I need like actual exposure, like a real life experience to really grasp something and learn about it, unless I'm like extremely interested in a topic, which is like with school like didn't really happen that much, but it really just caters to like one specific type of learner. So just because you had a hard time in school doesn't mean you have a learning disability.
Okay, that's I mean,
maybe you have a hard time like focusing because it's really boring.
But it's not even that, because even classes that I was interested in, I was really good in English, for example. Like I was really good in creative writing and all that stuff. I really liked it. But then just going into that for a career wasn't something I wanted to do. Like I wasn't interested in it that much. I was just good at it. So it came easy to me. So I liked it because it was easier than math or science or whatever like that. But I was reading some of these comments on this girl's post and they're like, wow, like this just goes to show how smart you are by going back to school and furthering your education. And I was like, it kind of made me feel bad. And I know that's on me because that's not on anybody else. That's someone complimenting somebody else. But it's that same type of verbiage of like, going to school and getting educated means you're smart. And there are so many ways to educate yourself. And some of the smartest people I know never graduated university.
Yeah.
And
actually, some of the most successful people in the world don't even have degrees.
I know,
like
but
they're self-taught.
But again, that's going off on the tangent of like being successful financially. For me, it was more just like feeling smart.
Okay, yeah.
Because you know how you used to say like people always think that you're dumb or they'll make comments or whatever, and you always felt that way kind of.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times too where I'm speaking to people and they'll kind of roll their eyes or make it seem like I'm not smart or whatever.
Yeah.
And I hate that so much because I feel like there's so much about me that isn't like I know a lot about a lot of things, especially when it comes to things I'm interested in. And you know, there's the whole book smart, street smart thing. Like I'm very street smart. I'm very much like I just know that like a lot of things. When it comes to school, I tried really hard. I always had tutors, and you know this about me. And I really was a studious person. I just was not good with my grades. Like getting low 80s was something that was amazing. Like, oh my gosh, if I got an 81, it was like the best day of my life. You know, I was very much like a just pass student with trying really hard. And so that's
not just pass.
No, I'm saying like that I was the type of student that like if I got a 60, like that was my average. Yeah, like that was my average. It was like just passing was like kind of where I was. And I tried really hard. And I remember feeling like such a failure when I dropped out of university because I couldn't complete something because I just could not learn. And it was so hard for me to learn and to focus and it wasn't even about doing the work and the exercises. Like I was able to do it all and I was always asking help from the teachers. I wasn't good at, and I tried so many different types of careers, let's say, or different things, and nothing was for me. And so seeing that TikTok, I was like, wow, that's so awesome that this girl's getting to do this, and I think that's so amazing to further her career. She gets to do all these things. But I'm like, it sucks that the way my brain works, like it does not work when it comes to school, no matter how hard I try. And just getting a passing grade with the amount of work I was doing was very frustrating. And who knows, maybe if I went back to school now,
that's what I was
like
thinking.
Mid-30s, it would be completely different because my brain has matured.
Yeah.
But also, again, I have the same brain that if I'm not super interested in something and I'm just doing it to get a credit, like it's really hard for me, especially now having kids and having a career and like doing things, like to focus my time on something that I'm not interested in.
Yeah.
And that's why I was talking to Dan about this. I'm like, if I wanted to do some online courses or do something like that, I feel like I could do it at my own time and learn myself.
And you could choose something that you're genuinely very interested in.
But it was just a topic of conversation that I wanted to bring up because I just hate that feeling of feeling stupid.
I know that feeling. I mean, like I like feel the same way, except like for me, it's like a little bit different just because it's like, for me, I never cared in high school and in cégep.
Right.
So like that's why my grades weren't the best. But in university, I really cared and I got really good grades.
Yeah.
So I know that like if I really apply myself, like I remember I took a biology class in university and there was like 250 students in the class. It was like one of those stadium classes.
Yeah, it was a big one.
And it was just a midterm and a final that you were graded on.
Okay. Whoa.
And in biology, it's like there's so much information that you need to retain. It's a lot of memorization.
Okay.
But I cared so much and I was genuinely interested. That's the thing. I was really interested in it. And I got, I think it was like the top 3 or 2 grades in the whole class. And it was the moment that I realized like, oh, I'm actually not stupid. Like if I really apply myself, like I could do it.
But I hate that again of it, like, oh, I'm not stupid because I did a good grade.
That's exactly it. Yeah. And it's like that's not the way that you should be thinking, you know? Like think of it this way. Doctors are very book smart, right?
Yeah.
They know their shit.
Yeah, of course.
Have you ever engaged with a really stupid doctor though, like face to face, where it's like they will say something so inappropriate, like not in terms of like dating or anything, like
like outside of the medical field, if we're not like in a one-on-one session,
yes,
like,
or even if you're like at the hospital. Like I remember when Mama had her heart attack, and the cardiovascular surgeon, is that what he's called, the guy that does like the stent,
yes,
he like cracked a joke at one point and it was the most inappropriate joke.
Ooh.
And I was like, so there's like a perfect example where it's like this man is clearly very fucking book smart, has absolutely no social skills.
Yeah, I mean, it's people, we're people, right? But I remember when we would talk about this in like years past on YouTube and on our podcast and stuff about like, you don't need an education in order to be successful financially, and people would get really upset over that because they're like, education is the most important thing, like you're really telling people like to not get an education. And I was like, that's not what we're saying at all. Because if you want to further your education and if you want to learn, that's the most amazing thing. Like I think that's great. I think we should all continuously learn. Does it have to be going to university? I don't necessarily agree with that, and that's just my thought process of it. I think there are so many ways to learn nowadays, like there's so many different avenues and
I would say the only time to like stay in university and get an education, even if like that's not something that like you're interested in and you don't even think that like whatever it is that you're studying in is what you're going to do for the rest of your life, the only reason I would say to stick to getting a degree is if you genuinely have no idea what you want to do, like you have no side passions either. So it would be like just stay in university just to have that like that backup plan, worst case, you know what I mean?
So this is coming from two Canadians, by the way, that don't have to pay out the ass and go into insane student debt, because that's the other thing too. We have a big US following. Like actually on the podcast, our main demographic is Canadian, so that's pretty awesome. But we do have a large US demographic as well. And I just want to say, if that's the case, if you're going to put yourself into hundreds and thousands of dollars of student debt for something that you don't even know if you're going to use, don't do it. Like I would say, figure out what you want to do first and then go into it, because we're lucky enough that we don't have that.
I was talking about this actually with my friend. She's lives in the States and she has a degree. She got a degree in the medical field. So like, you know, it was like she like, and she's doing what she studied. But like she was talking about like student loans, or like not even student loans, student debt. Yeah. And because like she does very well for herself, but like she was saying that like, you know, she's still has to pay off her student debt. And I was like, oh my God, it's so true. And she was like telling me like how much it was for her to like study. And I was like, oh my God. And then I told her what I paid per semester. And she was like, are you effing kidding me, Kyla? And I was like, yeah. And like we also have free healthcare, but I was like, but
and nothing's free here. We get taxed out the ass.
Yeah, we get taxed out the ass, and also our medical system is so bad.
No, it's really bad. I mean, it's bad in a lot of places, but like it's right now, it's not the greatest.
You need to tell me if I have a nip slip, by the way.
Okay, I will. Right now, your shirt's covering it all.
Okay. But
going back to what I said previously, I mean, even if you're in the States, if you go to like a community college that's not as expensive, and you're going to get just like a basic degree in HR, whatever it is, just to like have that, I think that's great. But if you're going into something that like is going to take a long time and a lot of student debt, and like you don't even enjoy it, you're not even going to want to do that as a career, that's when I would say try to figure out what you like first before doing it. If you're lucky enough to have the opportunity to have a job that you can like support yourself through or whatever, because there's a lot of people that are very financially blessed that have like family support and all that kind of stuff in the finance aspect. And then there's people that have the support just emotionally, but not financially. And that's a really tough place to be in. So for me, I don't have to pay out the ass for university, but I also had the emotional and financial support from my parents to allow me to take a year off of university to figure out what I wanted to do, because this YouTube thing that I was doing well. They gave me a year to live at home rent free, although I did pay $200 a month. It's not really rent, but you know, I wanted to contribute a little bit, but they allowed me that to figure it out, and then I figured it out. But I think when it comes to education itself, like, don't just do it to do it and like be unhappy. Like, try to find your passion. If you're in Canada and you're lucky enough that you're not paying a lot of money, it is worth sticking through, I think. If it's something that you are not sure of, like Kyla was saying, like, maybe I'll try this, maybe I'll try that, unless you know you want to be a doctor.
Because that was like my thing too. Like, I don't even do what I studied in university.
Yeah.
And like, I wasn't even sure if that's what I wanted to do. I just went into that degree because initially I wanted to do psychology, and I had a friend in psych, and she was like, listen, it's a lot of work. It's really not easy. And unless you know for sure that you want to become a psychologist and you're going to go down this path, like, you need to go all the way to a PhD. Otherwise, if you're just doing it to get that like bachelor's degree, like, I would go into human relations or like sociology or something like that, right, where it's like you're doing it more for the actual bachelor's degree and less for the actual degree itself.
Right.
And so I chose human relations because it was still like psychology in a certain sense. You know, it's more like interpersonal skills and like conflict management, stuff like that. But then I did a lot of out of program electives. Okay. So that's when I did like biology. I took journalism. I hated journalism. Oh my God. I did philosophy. Hated philosophy.
But you like experimented with
I did chemistry. Things. Yeah. I did like a bunch of different, oh my God, I did Intro to the New Testament.
Why did you do that?
It was literally just, it fit my schedule.
Okay.
And I remember when I took that class, I don't remember if it was mom or dad, but they were like, Kyla, why would you take this class? And then my teacher ended up being so good.
And you liked it?
I liked it because of the teacher, because
this makes such a difference.
He would act out, like, it was almost like watching a play, like, and he was so enthusiastic, and he would like raise his voice, and like when he would be reading like one of the scriptures, like he would be like literally, Alex, acting out what the person was saying. It wasn't cool. Just like reading the words. And I was like, I always felt like I was watching a play.
I love that.
It wasn't like the best grade I got. I think I got somewhere in like like mid to high 70s.
That's good.
But also I knew nothing about the New Testament. Like, I had to learn everything from scratch.
But see, that's the thing. I love learning. And there's so much that we can learn on our own as well.
Yeah.
And I do think it's great to have a degree. Like, I do think that it's never a negative to have a degree. Even if you don't do what you're doing. The only time it can be a negative, like I said, is if it will put you into crazy financial debt that is going to be almost impossible to get out of. Like, that's the only time. But also, if you're feeling like, I don't want to do school right now, I want to focus on something else, a passion of mine, a whatever, a hobby, and I want to see if I can make money out of it, I want to do this, I would say do it. Because guess what? I'm 34, and if I wanted to go back to school to get a degree, I could.
You know what? I mean? It's actually interesting we're talking about this, because who was I speaking to recently? Oh, it was Mom's friend, Lou. Okay. And I was saying that I was looking into going back and like studying a few things
because
to get my master's, but I want to do, or even just like a few courses where it's like above a bachelor's degree in between masters. Okay. But I would be interested in doing my master's, but I was looking into like psychology or like criminal psychology, because everyone tells me I should be a therapist. Yeah. And especially when it comes to criminals and stuff, like the criminal mind, I've always been so fascinated by it. I will study it on my own. And that's when I know that I'm very much interested in something. So I was looking into that. And then I was talking to Mom's friend about it. And I was like, but I don't know, I'm 32, you know. And she goes, trust me, you're young.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing, is that you always think you're old when you're that age, and then you look back and you think you're young. And there's this one example that Dad used to always tell us for so long, is that his younger brother, had switched career paths in his late 20s. And he's like, yeah, but Aldo, if I graduate from engineering, I'll be this age. My dad goes, okay, yeah, but you'll still be that age in this amount of years without the degree if you don't do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you want to do it, who cares how old you are?
Yeah.
There was people I had in my stageship classes that were in their 40s.
Yeah.
That were redoing things.
And I remember.
When you're older, you don't give a shit. You're like, okay, it's annoying to go to school with a bunch of young kids, whatever. But in university specifically, it's like, everyone's there to learn.
I remember I had a woman in one of my group projects in university, and she was, if I remember properly, I think she was like 38 or 39 at the time, and we were all like early 20s.
Yeah.
and she was a mom, she had a full-time job, and she was doing like just the night classes.
Yeah.
And I think she had one class that was during the day, which is the one that like she was in with us. But anyways, I remember thinking to myself like, oh, that's so cool. If I ever wanted to come back and like change degrees or like study something different, like I could so do it.
And that's why there's literally no rush. Like obviously, if you're going to get a basic degree and you want to work your way up in, let's say, the corporate ladder or whatever, starting young, it could be helpful and essential in certain, aspects of it. But not everything has to be that way. I don't think that you have to be a certain age to do anything. Like,
and also if you decide to just never get your university degree, then like you're not stupid.
No. And I hate that so much because so many people think that I'm dumb, especially online. Like that's the main thing.
Do they actually say that you're dumb?
No one has said you're dumb, but I've like heard, because this is the thing, I don't read hate. I don't go and like look for things because I just don't care for that. But like I've heard amongst things that like that is like, oh, she didn't get a degree. Like I've seen a few like things here and there randomly. It's like she didn't get a degree, so she doesn't know what she's talking about, and like she's stupid, whatever. And it's like, okay, you can think that. I know I'm not stupid, but I also hate that feeling of people thinking I'm stupid again. But that's
well, that literally happened to me last week before we recorded the podcast with our guest. Remember, like I got like really stressed in the moment about something, and then like I just like I felt really stupid, and I was like really without going into like too much detail. I don't want to like give anything away. Like there's like personal stuff, but I was like, like I was being so hard on myself, and I was like, like I've always felt so. Like, I've always just been hard on myself.
Yeah.
And people always tell me, like, Kyla, you're not stupid.
No, you're not.
But I'm like, I know I could say things impulsively without thinking. And, like, it could come across as, like, ditzy or a little bit of, like, I don't know the word, like, airhead, whatever.
Yeah, that's what people would say. Or, like, for me, they say dans la lune, like, head in the clouds.
Exactly. One time, someone told me to get my head out of the gutter. And when I tell you, I fucking lost it.
Someone actually said that to you?
Yeah, straight up. I was texting this person, and it was a guy, and he was like, I think he was joking, but it was like not funny. And he was like, oh, haha, like get your head out of the gutter. And I was like, you literally have shit stains in your toilet. Like I got no, he had a mudslide in his toilet, by the way.
Sorry guys. My dogs are they're
just perfect.
They just need the love.
I think it's cute when there's a dog.
Yeah, it's cute.
Remember when Nika came in frame?
Oh my god, I forgot about Nika. R.I.P.
That was the cutest kitty.
Yeah. No, Hazel.
Oh my gosh, Hazel. Miss May.
Yeah.
She was my perfect princess.
So yeah, that's just what I wanted to say is that I try my best not to let what people think of me bother me. But like, it's just a natural instinct.
It's also, you're just human, right?
Like...
And also, I just want to say something because I was reading the comments for the first episode that we came out with. And like, people were talking about like the whole section where I was talking about the video and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And
I didn't read those.
And I read them. And like, I agree I respect everyone's opinion. Yeah. And
what were they saying? Like, what was
it was essentially, they were very mature.
Okay.
I couldn't even like recap it. Okay. It was basically just like, I understand where Kyla's coming from, and like the hate was just absolutely not okay. And then however like
because I don't really remember what was even
your decision to upload it, even though you weren't the person saying all these things, and like the way it was worded, because I don't remember how it was worded, so that's the thing too.
But I remember not being affected by it because I didn't care what he had to say.
And I also know that like I reviewed that video a bunch of times, and like I remember like knowing like this could trigger some people, but at the same time it's not
your responsibility.
But not only I wasn't thinking it wasn't necessarily, I was thinking this isn't harmful to someone in the sense of like I remember telling myself like if someone is gonna like really be affected by what he's saying, then there is something that's going on with like that person that like they need to work on what it is that they're feeling about themselves. But the way that it was worded in the comments for our YouTube video was like really mature.
Okay, that's good.
And I just want to reiterate that the whole point that I was trying to make, like in case anyone listens to that video and misunderstands what I'm saying, or like maybe at my point I wasn't getting it across properly.
I'm pretty sure it was pretty clear.
I just want to say again, like, no one needs to agree with my decision and my opinion about that. Like, that's my personal opinion. And, like, you could totally disagree. And I fully respect that.
Yeah.
Like, you should have your own opinion. And if you were affected by it, there's nothing wrong with you for being affected by it. That's something I want to make clear. What I was saying was the people that took it that step further and were leaving really bad hate and were like bullying and threatening, like, that's what I mean by, like, you have something that you need to work on. But if you watch the video, you don't agree with my opinion to upload it, and you were affected by it, like, you are not, like, there's no issues with you, you're not,
she's not who
too
you were talking
insecure
about.
Yeah, I just want to, like, make that very fucking clear. Because I don't want anyone to feel like, oh, if I'm affected by something, then, like, there's something wrong with me, you know? It's like, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Her point was, if you're affected by it and then you're telling her to take it down.
In a very mean way.
Yeah.
Where it's like almost like a threat. Or the people that, like, downloaded the video and still continued uploading it after I had already taken it down. You're just spreading hate, and, like, you're still sharing that video. So it's like, asking me to take it down in the first place, like, you're just a hypocrite, you know? Yeah. It's like, you're not trying to, like, leave constructive criticism and, like, have empathy. You're using it as a tool to just bully.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah. I think it's good that you, I guess, cleared that. I typically don't read that many comments just because, I don't know, I can't be bothered. I know that sounds bad.
Well, there was a comment that affected you on our YouTube video, and I was like, just delete it, Alex.
Yeah, well, that's just because that's a big reason as to why I don't read things.
Yeah.
And why I don't go searching for things. Because it depends on the kind of headspace I'm in. And, like, I think people don't realize how scary postpartum can be. People just think I'm, like, some, like, unhinged, loose screw, like, mental case. And I've had a lot of mental health issues. That's why I've been in therapy for so long. It's literally why I've been in therapy since I was 19 years old. Therapy isn't just something you go to and then graduate from forever. Like, there's definitely aspects of therapy I've graduated from, but I'm never going to be like this person who can just walk around unhinged, not caring about anything forever, because that's just not human. And I'm not at a place yet where I can be fully graduated from therapy and be like, no, I've taken these tools and I can, like, you know, really do this for a while. I'm still in the thick of postpartum. Like, postpartum can be a very dark and scary place.
That's a real thing, postpartum.
And if you have not been in postpartum depression to the point where it's, like, the scary thing, then, like, you don't get it. And, like, I know people really think that, like, I can get into, like, a really negative headspace and it's, like, really annoying to you, and, like, that's fine. You can feel that way, but that's, like, my real life and, like, my real thoughts and stuff that I really have to deal with. So it sucked for my sister having to deal with that for the business with me. You know what sucked too is me fucking having to live it. Like, having to live through that fucking sucks. It's not fun to, anyways, I'm gonna get emotional.
Yeah, don't even,
like, it's really scary. Yeah. And, like, looking back, I was like, I needed medication. Like, I really needed, and I hate that my doctor didn't do that for me, but I'm in, like, such a better place now. Yeah. Like, I'm not perfect, but I'm in such a better place, and I give myself so much grace for everything, because if we would have followed through with investing a ton more money into something that we couldn't communicate on, we would have been in a deeper hole. And that's why I think.
And I also think it wasn't just communication. I think we have very, very different personalities too. Yeah. Like, we work very differently, and, like, we have, like, different characters, and so that, like, because of that, like, we also were not able to communicate properly. So, and then the whole money thing, like, it's very, very difficult, and, like, there's things that, like, I think still to this day we don't necessarily agree on. Yeah. With, like, certain things with the clothing line, and, like, we just kind of got to a point where we were like, okay, agree to disagree and, like, move it forward, kind of thing, you know?
And I also don't want people to think that, like, well, whatever, people are going to think what they want to think. What I mean to say is that we are working on our relationship. Yeah. We are working on how to communicate. We are working on all these things before we follow through with the business, because at the end of the day, our relationship to each other means more than anything. It means more than money. It means more than business. It means more than any of that. And that is why we are trying so hard to just communicate and like talk about things. And it's tough, guys. Like it's not even like sisters. It's families. It's friendships. It's business partners.
Yeah, because it also like we're sisters. It affects our relationship, but then like it's not just our relationship. Like it affects our parents.
Yeah,
it affects like, you know, Dan.
Yeah,
like there other people get involved like through association kind of thing. Yes. And it's like it's not just between the two of us, like, you know. And so it's like there's a kind of like a ripple effect to that. Of course. So it's like we're also trying to take into account like our parents, how it affects them. Yeah. And it's tough. Like it really is. It's tough. And like even if you're not family with your business partner, like still at that, everyone works differently. Everyone has different values. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes there's partnerships that are more compatible and more successful, and other times there's partnerships that are just like completely, it can like go to shit. Yeah. And it's just it's tough. There's a lot that goes into running a business, because it's also a business. It's not like with it being an influencer versus running a business, an actual business is so different.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's like it's not the same.
No, it's not.
And there's a lot of like technicalities. There's like, you know, you have to think like 5 steps ahead. You have to plan in advance. You have to like almost problem solve before there's an issue that even like arises. And then you have to like budget. You have to be on the same page about things. Yeah. You have to have the same creative direction. There's like the marketing that goes, there's so much.
The dogs.
They're so cute.
There's a lot that goes into just business in general. And because I have a lot of friends that are in business, in the sense that like they own their own business, they have business partners. Sometimes it's their spouse, sometimes it's like a friend, or sometimes it's like a stranger that they went into business together. There is always something, unless there's one person that is like the one CEO that owns and like makes all the decisions and calls the shots. Typically there's going to be issues. I think for us it was more just, anyways, we're getting into the same thing that we spoke about last time, but the good thing is that we're on amazing terms, and we're really trying to work on things and talk about things and just be healthy and communicate.
Yeah, exactly. And like I think one of the things with communicating too is that like you're not just like listening to what the person is saying, but you can actually like empathize, put yourself in their shoes, and like take their stuff into account, but also while still having like your own boundaries and self-respect, and like feeling like, okay, I hear that person and I empathize with what they're saying, and then I also feel respected in return. And I think it's a very hard balance, you know?
Yeah. I think, and it's also because, like I said, we're sisters, and we have like all this history of things. So sometimes like the sister dynamic would sneak up in there, instead of it being like, okay, this is a business chat. It'd be like, okay, but something like with sisters from the past, you know? So that is something that like,
or just like we're comfortable with each other, and so like, you know, like
we would talk to each other like siblings, rather
or like than, you know, like it's things that like if we were not related would just not be happening.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, it's literally like watching an episode of the Kardashians, and like,
oh my god, the episode when Kim and Courtney, they get into a fight, and Kim is like literally whipping her purse at Courtney.
That's literally us. So that's the thing. I don't remember if it was my mom or my dad or somebody said this. They were like, oh my gosh, like our family would do so well in reality TV, because like the amount of just like shit that we talk about, and like drama and like just crap that happens, because we have such a big family and just whatever. I'm like, honestly, we'd be super entertaining.
We would be very entertaining,
and like, especially if like you guys just knew everything, because obviously our first episode was very like, we were very transparent, we were very open and honest about a lot of things, but we still don't tell you everything. Like there's so much of our lives that you just don't know. And like I'm like, could you imagine like just watching a reality show of our lives, how insane that would be?
Yeah. Oh my. I actually think that because it's us and our cousins, like we just have very big personalities and we're very similar but very different, but then we all get along and love each other so much. It's literally like the Kardashians.
It is. And we have a lot of girl cousins, so it's a lot.
I feel like I would be like a mix between Kylie and Kendall.
Yeah, I definitely see
like
that.
I have that like playful like girly side like Kylie, like happy-go-lucky, like do-do-do.
Yeah.
And then I have that side to me that's like Kendall, where it's like, don't talk to me, like who is this person, like I like switch.
You go back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I feel like I'm like Chloe, a mix between Chloe and Kris Jenner. I would say I'm like a mix between the two of them. I don't really relate to Kylie that's or cool. Kendall.
I feel like you would be similar to Kylie.
Really?
You have that side to you too.
I love her. I know you don't watch it, but watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. No,
I want to get into that.
You need to watch it, Kyla. Is so good.
What network is it on?
Disney.
Okay.
I think it's on Hulu in the States, but in Canada it's Disney Plus. It is so good. And again, like the people hate on this girl Taylor.
Yeah.
And I love her because she's so real.
Yeah.
She's just so honest and real, and then like she'll take accountability for things, and like she'll fuck up, and like she has fucked up in a lot of ways, and like she's always taken accountability and she's always been honest from the get-go. So I'm like, I really value that.
Yeah.
And that's like the same thing with me, is that I will fuck up, but I'm also not ashamed to take accountability for my actions and be like, yeah, I fucked up. But also guess what? People grow, people change their minds, people will people. You know, they will be people.
People will people.
They will be people.
Humans will human.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just kind of how I see it.
Yeah.
You should watch the show.
I also think that the two of us, like we've matured a lot, obviously, over the years. And like, I'm the same. I don't really have as many issues. Like I could really fully take accountability for things.
Yeah.
But when we were younger, I think that the two of us, like, were very hard on ourselves. And I think that we used to, like, years ago when we were younger, also granted this is a maturity thing, let's just be real.
Yeah.
But we used to think that if we were wrong about something, it meant, like, there was something wrong with us. Like, it was very, I think there was, like...
Well, that's BPD.
That's not full-blown BPD.
No,
it's a trait.
It's an aspect of it. That was like a main thing, is that if you do something, or if someone calls you out on something that's quote unquote like you did something bad, it means you think that you're all bad and it's you like can't so be extreme. All bad. Yeah, it's like no one is calling you a bad person. You just made a mistake. Like it's really not that deep. But it's like,
do you like, because you have the BPD diagnosis? Yeah. Do you have, like, is that like something that goes away?
Oh yeah, so my therapist had said like she wouldn't have classified me as BPD anymore, like a few years ago or whenever it was. I think going through postpartum definitely brought out a lot again for me, and I'm like still actively working through it, but it's a behavioral issue. It's literally like you're retraining yourself on how to behave in situations, how to react to situations, how to feel in situations. It's not something that like you can't work through. There's a lot of different types of therapy that deal with it. And it's hard. It's not easy.
Like there's always going to be that part of you that like...
I think that you could definitely get to a point where you don't even have that initial instinct. And I have been there before.
Yeah.
But I think because when you go through something like my therapist was saying, like, a new baby, we moved at the same time, if you have like a loss of a parent, a loss of a loved one, like things like that, it brings out a lot of deep emotions that if you haven't worked through fully might come back or whatever, or it just can bring out something else. And so she was saying the three main things that couples argue, or that are the hardest for a couple to experience, is a new baby, a divorce, and a move. And so I went through two of those things within a very quick amount of time, and on top of like other stressors in life, it was, and just postpartum depression, it was just kind of a recipe for disaster. And it was hard for me to see like the greatness I had in my life. It was hard for me to be grateful about the good I had, you know? And so I'm in that place now that I can really see all of the good and focus on that, because I'm not in that dark place.
Because what is BPD?
Borderline personality disorder.
Well, so I know that, and I've obviously like read up a lot on BPD because I love psychology. It's very interesting. But like, what is that experience like when you have like what is?
So for me, it can be different, right? Because it's a spectrum. There's a spectrum for everything. For me, it presented itself in the fact that like I was extremely sensitive.
Okay.
Extremely sensitive. If Dan would, or not even Dan, if anyone would mention something that I maybe could work on or do like constructive criticism was taken as like you're stabbing me in the heart and like I'm a bad person.
Okay.
And I can't be bad. So you're bad. And you like come back at that person.
Okay.
It's kind of how you argue and how you behave in situations. There's a lot more to it. Like I'm sure if someone has BPD or experiences it, whatever, there's so much more to it. But that's how it really presented in me was definitely like that. And you know that when we would have our arguments, and it's the same with when I would argue with mom, it's like the tit for tat. And like I don't think that I am like clear of it now in my life currently, because it's still a struggle of mine. Like even I'm definitely a lot better,
because it's like it's basically like my understanding of it is like a deep rooted insecurity where it like makes you very, very, very sensitive.
And you can feel abandoned in a lot of ways. Like you're scared of abandonment. You have like an
extreme fear of abandonment. Yeah. And your way of handling that is very external. Like you don't catch yourself in those moments, and you will attack someone for feeling attacked when in like your reaction to something that happens in the first place like doesn't match.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
And then you can push people away.
Yeah.
Because you're like scared of rejection, even though you're rejecting. Like it's a very complicated like diagnosis. And I don't think that like if I were to go back and do my...
You self-sabotage a lot.
Yeah. But there's such a stigma to people with BPD because of like social media and movies and stuff, whatever. But one of my favorite creators has BPD, and like you would never think that. Like she's so soft-spoken and so sweet and kind, and she's like a great mom and whatever. And I just relate a lot to the things she does share when she chooses to share about BPD, because I'm like, wow, it's nice to know that it's a lot more common than you would think.
It's very common.
And it's very nurtured. It's not like a nature versus nurture thing. It is a very nurtured behavioral issue.
Okay.
Like it is, at least that's what I was told.
Okay.
From the help that I was getting from multiple people. But it is also something that you can work through and like relearn.
Like it could affect you more if like your temperament is already more at risk, but then it's more about like a nurture thing. But also that brings it out.
Over time, as you get older and the more help you get and the more you feel like, okay, I'm not going to be abandoned in this situation. Okay, someone is going to respect me for me. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I never fit in growing up. I was over coddled like in a lot of situations. So my anxiety was pretty bad with doing new things. And like, I'm not putting any blame on our parents. It's just like, it is what it is. And also feeling...
No, we actually have the best parents in the world.
No, we really do. But it's also feeling like I had to always put on an act to be accepted by people. And I catch myself still doing that to this day sometimes. Like I have this clear memory of being in high school and a friend was like, oh, did you see the new episode of whatever show it was last night? And like, I didn't, but I was like, oh my God, yeah, just to fit in. And I had no idea what they were talking about. And it's like, why couldn't I have just said, no, I didn't? I had no self-confidence to say that. And then like...
Because you felt like you would be rejected or abandoned.
Exactly. And then if I would get called out on lying about it, like, oh, you actually didn't watch it, I would get so defensive and like argue to the death. And it's like, no, but you didn't actually fucking watch it.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just... Or in grade 6 when I cut my bangs and mom was like, you cut your bangs. And I was like, no, I didn't. And she's like, okay, so who cut your bangs? I don't have bangs. As I have fucking bangs.
See, I was the opposite in that aspect where I never cared. I remember
so much shame.
Yeah.
It's a lot of shame.
It's very shame based.
Yeah. A lot
Narcissism
of shame.
And BPD, it's a shame based.
Yes, but just because you have BPD does not mean you're a narcissist. I don't want people to get
No. They're not the... No, narcissism, but people do, like, let's say you're someone that doesn't have BPD or narcissism and you're in a relationship with someone with BPD. I have read that it could be like, if you don't actually know what's going on, like you could feel like your partner is a narcissist because the symptoms kind of present itself in a way that's similar to narcissism, but it's not actually narcissism. People with BPD are just, they're wired in a way where it's like they have such an extreme fear of abandonment, and you don't think that, like, you don't have that like grandiosity or that like God complex where you think that you are literally above everyone else and you're the smartest person in the room.
No,
it's like quite the opposite.
You're the opposite of that.
Where narcissism is very much about like grandiosity, and like you literally have a core belief. It's delusion. You have a core belief that you are better and smarter than everyone, and consequences don't apply to you.
Whoa, I don't think I know any narcissist. I don't think I know one person who's like that.
So everyone has narcissistic traits because it's also a spectrum.
Yeah.
But I think I met one narcissist in my life. And when I tell you,
because I hear people
when
say,
I tell you, someone with like, I shouldn't say because I don't know, right? Like I don't know for a fact if this person's a full blown narcissist, but the fucking delusion, and they're like children. If you really get to know them, they're like actual children that don't have and they have a complete lack of empathy, which you're very empathetic.
Well, not only that, but like I think taking accountability for your actions is like the last thing a narcissist would ever do.
That's exactly it. They could do something so horrible and it's everyone else's fault. They do not take accountability, and they don't feel, for the most part, they don't feel remorse.
Okay. If you're a narcissist, is that something that you can like work on? Like if you're aware of it? So it's
very, very, very rare. Okay. For like narcissists, they don't do therapy. Like they will go to therapy, and then the second that they start being called out, like it takes a very, very good patient therapist to really help a narcissist, because you almost have to like feed into their God complex in a way. And like, it's like straight up delusional, like things that they think and believe. And
it's kind of scary.
It is. It's sad. And I've seen like a few creators on TikTok that are recovering narcissists that had full blown NPD, and they explain, what it's like, and they educate people. And it's very rare. Like Dr. Ramani, she has a whole podcast and everything. She covers everything about narcissists and everything. Mm-hmm. And like she basically says like, don't expect a narcissist to change.
Yeah. I think there's someone I know that is like similar to that. I wouldn't like, again, I'm not a therapist. I can't like diagnose somebody, but I would think that they're pretty similar to that. And they think everyone else is a narcissist. Yeah. But I think that there are aspects that like would lead me to believe that they're not one. Yeah. But they have a lot of that, like those traits that you're saying. But it's definitely hard. Like this person is not in my life anymore, and like it's for the better. And yeah, it's just not a good situation to be in. But I think also that I do believe people can change. And I do always think that like when people are struggling and they're going through something, it doesn't matter how much they have physically in their life. Like they could have all the money in the world and the nicest house and the nicest whatever, and like they could still be struggling. And to an outside person who is struggling with other things, they can look at that and be like, how fucking annoying is that you can have everything in the world and be struggling? And that just goes to show you that mental health does not discriminate. Robin Williams had literally everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So it's just, it does make me empathize a lot with people like Justin Bieber. When people say like, I have no empathy for him at all. Like he has everything and he's like, whatever. I'm like, I feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
Like I really do.
He has no freedom.
Like it sucks.
Like in the sense of like, he can't go out in public. He can't just go out and like go for a walk and like enjoy his walk alone. He's got paparazzi. He's got people like following him, like a caged animal. Like that's not like a thing, right?
Yeah. And like, you know what?
That's just one aspect.
People want fame. Some people don't want fame, but the people want fame, but then they don't want the things that come with it. And I can understand that. What's the word I'm looking for?
Envy?
No, I can understand the not confrontation. the argument. I can understand the argument of, well, there are perks to being famous and to having money, and then there's also negatives, and it comes with the territory, and I get that. It doesn't mean that I have to think it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's okay for certain people to be stalking other people and to be lurking on like what they're doing and sharing things online, and like, I just think sometimes that's just like it's just mean behavior, and I'm also allowed to think that. Like, yeah, it is just mean. Like, you are allowed, you have free will, you can do that, and I can also think it's weird.
I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but the way that you express that opinion and handle it, how it's shared is what matters. Yeah. You know?
Like, I've never once in my life gone on like and like type something mean about somebody else. I'm not saying that to be like,
oh, like to leave a hate comment.
Yeah. Or just like, even people will have conversations about, like we said in the first episode about like Hailey Bieber and like this whole hate towards her and Selena and whatever, this whole big thing. People will like make TikToks about it, and they'll write,
to get down my legs.
Like I was saying, it's just it's how you express it, just like how I react in an argument, especially when I'm going through a hard time, and how I can learn in my brain to not think that not everyone is out to get me, but this person is saying that I'm a bad person just because they disagree with my choice of something. You know, like, it's something
doesn't
that
make you a failure.
Exactly. And so it's the same thing when you're reading something online, to then spread the hate and to go on and gossip about people, to me is something that you can actively work on and make your life better. And then we had someone in our life tell us, like, actually, maybe we won't say this on the podcast. What? We can always cut this out. But when the person was like, most people that go on these like hate things are like
weirdos. Just, you see them in person and they're like people that live in a basement that don't leave the house, and they are very weird.
Or like, you would never care about their opinion in real life if you saw what they were like in person. You'd be like, I literally do not give a shit what you think about me now, looking at you, and like not just judging your appearance, but like the way that you're acting.
Yeah.
I would never give you 2 cents of my time, but when it's hidden behind a computer screen, you're just assuming it's someone like us.
Your imagination kind of fills the blanks.
Exactly. So
and you like, assume that because, like, you know, we're a certain way, like, we're just assuming the person writing it is the same way.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's like, oh my God, like no. I've actually looked. There was a person that left a hate comment on one of our TikTok videos, and it was like something about me. What was it?
How do you deal with hate? Actually, I've always wanted to ask you that, because I always thought you were sensitive like me, but I think I'm more sensitive than you when it comes to that stuff.
I could brush things off like a lot easier. Doesn't really like affect the way that I see myself, really.
Okay.
I mean, I'm still human, depending on my time of the month and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there was a comment that someone left on one of our TikToks, and I left it for a bit, but then I ended up just deleting it because I was like, whatever, it's like fucking stupid.
Okay.
And
what was it?
I forget what it was, but it was about me. It was like, Kyla should not have a mic in front of her or something like that. I forget. It was something like that.
Okay.
And went on their profile. Oh my God.
And you're like, yeah, I don't give a shit about what you think.
I was like, I don't care.
Usually it's just block and move on.
I just reported the comment as like online bullying. I didn't delete it. I reported it.
Oh, okay.
It might still be up.
Maybe. Usually I just like, not block, but like hide user.
There's always a part where I'm torn, where I'm like, should I leave the hate because then it's better engagement?
Oh, the hate is always better engagement.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing, is people don't realize,
like, you're kind of doing us a favor.
You're literally paying our bills. So leave the hate.
You know?
I mean, we could still hide your comment, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And just no one else can see it. So like,
I guess I get torn sometimes because I'm like, I kind of want to leave it up.
Like, we see it, and like, definitely there's times where this is why I don't do it. I don't start. There's definitely times where it can get to us, for sure. And I know that's most people's, like, it's my podcast, me and Finch. I know people, they want to get under our skin. Like, that's the main point of like leaving a hate comment. If there's constructive criticism, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But if it's just a hate comment, it's like they want the reaction, but like they're also not realizing that like you're helping us in a lot of ways. So if you don't want to help us, don't watch, don't engage. Literally just like, bye.
Yeah, but they don't want to help. That's the whole point. They want to put us down. So that's why there's a part of me that's like, helping. I know. And but so they're helping in a way that they're not trying to help.
Yeah, but they still are.
Yeah.
Thanks for being our fans.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. No,
listen,
there's
when you're online, you're going to have people that say negative things about you. It just to
be honest, I truly, I'm human, so I have moments, obviously, but like, I don't know, reading those hate comments, I was just like, I genuinely don't care. Like,
yeah.
Okay, this is kind of twisted, but there's a part of me that's like, oh, like you're going out of your way to like shit on me. Like you must be fucking like in a weird way. I was like, you're kind of obsessed with
oh my gosh
the dynamic that we have going on right now. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Obsessed with me or something?
Well, like it gets Kyla. To a point. No, but it's true. It gets to a point where if you're going to go out of your way to leave hate on one specific person, because it was the same person on like 3 of the videos or something, specifically about me.
Yeah.
I was like a bit obsessive.
Yeah, a little bit obsessive.
People, and I'm not saying that in a way where like I'm like, oh my God, people are obsessed with me, and like, but no, like that
the behavior.
You know what I mean? I'm like, it's a bit like
the behavior is obsessive. Really wanted to dive deep into like being, unsure about what is it? Being caught in the middle of.
Yes,
we can get into it in like another episode.
The next episode, yeah, when you're kind of in that like phase of your life where you're in limbo, where it's like you're not exactly where you want to be, but you're not where you thought you would be. No, you're not.
It's basically like where do you think you didn't? Oh my God,
are we okay?
Maybe we should get educated. It's like
no, let me read it.
You think you expected to be in a certain place in your life and you're not there, right?
Like you're not where you are, but you're not where you thought you'd be. So like mid-30s weird limbo. So it's like any like identity shifts, burnout, evolving friendships, emotional numbness. I'm going through emotional numbness, I think.
You think?
Yeah. Or also like the shit we thought we'd have figured out by now. So like in career, love, boundaries, money, focus, everything we thought would be clearer by adulthood, but like nope.
Yeah, that's like gonna be the whole, not next episode because the next episode will be our guest, but the following one will be about that. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for listening, and if you want to hate on us, that's cool, honestly, because you're still paying our bills. But honestly, we would love to see the love, because the hate is always louder than the love. It just truly is, because I listen to so many people and I always forget to comment and like things. So that's something I'm trying to do more of now, is comment and like the stuff, because I want to show my positive support. So if you would like to show positive support, you can rate us 5 stars on the podcast. You can listen to us anywhere. You can follow us on YouTube and give it a thumbs up, leave a nice comment, and we love you guys, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye guys.
Bye.